In 1980, Mike Too Tall Bell was crowned Supercross champion for that season. And tonight, we bring you our next chapter in our Supercross story from Anaheim Stadium for the first race of the 1981 Supercross season. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Huffman, and thanks for joining us again. This 1981 Supercross season kickoff race marks the return of Mike Bell, as well as the return of Bob Hurricane Hanna after his year-long absence from a broken leg injury he received in a water skiing accident in 1980. So sit back and relax as we join announcer Ted Otto, who will help me turn back the Supercross time machine to 1981 as we visit our Supercross racing heroes as they ride on two wheels.
I'm the World Supercross champion, and I'm going to keep it that way. Team Kawasaki is ready, and we're going to attack the track.
The track's fast. I'm psyched. I'm going to whip them.
These chowder bumps are really difficult. If you don't get your rhythm down there, throw it right in your head.
This is Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California, the home of the California Angels baseball team and the Los Angeles Rams football team. Hello, I'm Ted Otto. We're here tonight not to bring you baseball or football, but the opener of Supercross. That's motorcycle racing in stadiums. And tonight marks the opening of the 1981 season. All the teams are here. Some of the riders' numbers have changed. Everybody's ready to see what's going to happen in this new year. Last year's champion, Mike Bell from Yamaha, is here trying to defend his championship. His teammate, who is running with him, Bob Hanna, has had a year off because of a broken leg. He was the champion. He's been racing off-season in Florida, and out of 4 events in Florida, he's won 4. So everyone says Bob Hanna's back to form. We'll find out tonight. 30-second sign is up. The gates can fall at any time. They fall toward the front wheel of the bike. The gates have fallen, and the riders are off and running toward the end of the racetrack. In the center of the track, it looks like Mike Bell, but Brock Glover is moving in there very fast. Bell is in there. There are a number of bikes all running into that first turn, and until we sort them out, we'll have no way to know exactly who they are, but it's number 14, Daryl Schultz on a Suzuki, a California rider, factory sponsored. He's in the lead. Yamaha's Brock Glover is running second, and Kent Howerton on a Suzuki is third. Mark Barnett on a Suzuki is running fourth. Donnie Hansen on a Honda is running fifth, and Mike Bell, last year's champion on a Yamaha, is in sixth position as they are 1/2 lap into this 20-lap event, and some of the leaders have crashed up near one of the top of one of the high berms. Donnie Hansen on a Honda went down, and now we've got about 7 bikes in a tangle up there on the end of the racetrack. Meanwhile, the leader flies over the finish line at the end of lap 1. That's number 14, Daryl Schultz on a Suzuki, running in the lead. Second place, number 6, Brock Glover, Yamaha mounted. Running around the fast part of this racetrack now. They're trying to get some distance on some of the other riders. Mark Barnett, the Suzuki number 5, is running in 3rd position. Kent Howerton, the Rhinestone Cowboy, number plate number 2, finished 2nd in the standings last year, is running 4th. Mike Bell is running 5th. Mike Bell is last year's champion. He put on an exciting duo out here in the first qualifier for tonight's final event when he passed Bob Hanna and went on to win the first qualifier. Bell, not known to be a rapid starter, usually starts back 6th or 7th in the pack and works hard to get himself up toward the front of the racetrack. Coming around now over the start-finish line again. We have 2 laps that are now history. The leader, number 14, Darrell Schultz, literally flying over that high mound, the Himalaya mountain they call it out there. In second place, it's still number 6, Brock Glover. But Glover is going to have to keep going to move up and catch Schultz. Schultz is putting a little distance between himself and second place right now, but the riders are beginning to stretch out into single file, and for a few laps it'll be safe going for everyone, no one to pass, and they'll be able to bunch up near the front. The faster riders will work their way to the front during the first 6 or 7 laps of this race, and then the dueling begins. Still number 14 in the lead, Darrell Schultz, Suzuki mounted. Barnett has now moved into second place. He passed Brock Glover. Mark Barnett on bike number 5, a Suzuki, moving up into second place. Barnett is challenging Schultz, getting up behind Schultz and giving him all he can handle in this race. Schultz is trying to hold on to the lead. They are now starting to catch the slower traffic on the racetrack. The last bike on the course has been given a move over flag. Schultz is still leading this event. Bob Hanna is back in 14th position. Bob Hanna, the superstar of motocross racing, the man who was the champion a year ago, out for a season with a broken leg. They're expecting big things of him, but he has a long ways to go in this final event as he's in 14th position. Still in the lead, number 14, Suzuki mounted Darrell Schultz, a California rider. He's a factory-sponsored rider for Team Suzuki. Barnett is now working very hard on the front of the pack. And Barnett has moved into the lead. But there are still about 15 laps to go in this event, and anything can happen as there are all champion riders in this event. Bell, Howerton, Sun, Glover, Gibson, Wise, Smith, Schultz, England, Laporte, and Bob Hanna all can challenge. There is still time in this event. But right now, with a comfortable lead on motorcycle number 5, Mark Barnett. Moving up into second place now is Kent Howerton. Howerton, a Suzuki teammate, has moved into second place. And in third place is number 14, Darrell Schultz. It's Suzuki running 1, 2, and 3 in this event. Suzuki's race at this moment. 3 riders all running 1, 2, 3. Glover is running 4th, and Bell is running 5th. Brock Glover on Team Yamaha and Mike Bell. They are both in this event. Last year's champion is Mike Bell. He's 5th at this moment. Followed then by young Jim Gibson of Team Honda running 6th. Danny Laporte is running 7th. Laporte is on a Honda on bike number 17. And running 8th is a young privateer from Southern California, Mark Lawrence, on bike number 57. The crowd becomes to come alive as the challenge takes place out on the racetrack again, as Schultz begins to gain on the bikes in front of him. Mark Barnett trying to hold on to the lead. It's Barnett going by us now. And then here comes Kent Howerton. He's about 60 bike lengths behind. Into third place now is Mike Bell. Last year's champion has moved up from the back of the pack, working his way up into this race course. Not known to be a fast starter, but he works on the event as the race keeps going. Mike Bell works hard during the entire event. Bob Hurricane Hanna on bike number 100, trying to work his way up from back in the pack. Still with the lead, it's Mark Barnett, Suzuki mounted number 5. It's a long way around this race course when you have to go 20 complete laps. They are bone-jarring bumps, man-made ripple strips, high mounds of dirt that grooves are beginning to be cut in from the tires of the motorcycles. One mistake, and you're in big trouble in a stadium event. The course is tight and small and twisting, and if you lose concentration for just an instant, it can be the difference between winning and not even finishing. The leader, Mark Barnett, with a comfortable lead over his teammate, Kent Howerton. Moving up into third spot is Mike Bell. Dropping back to fourth was the man who led for a little while, and that's Schultz. Daryl Schultz on the Suzuki. It was Suzuki 1, 2, 3. It's now Suzuki 1, 2 and Yamaha 3. Right now it's Barnett, Howerton, Bell, Schultz, then Gibson, Glover, Laporte, Mark Lawrence, and Goat Breaker in that order. Still more than half of this event to go. The riders who are in the best shape will continue to gain ground as this event winds down. The first championship event of the 1981 season. Professional riders on motorcycles indoors. Indoors in a stadium, some with roofs, some without. They race in Superdomes and in stadiums such as this one at Anaheim. The leader, Mark Barnett, gets by slower traffic, and now so does his teammate, Kent Howerton. The slower bike goes by, and then the challenger in third place, Mike Bell, last year's champion. In fourth place, number 14, Daryl Schultz on a Suzuki, who led this race for some time, followed by Jim Gibson, number 7 on his Honda. Still with no one challenging at this point is our leader, Mark Barnett, on bike number 5. Bob Hanna has worked his way up to 11th now. Hanna, last year's champion, he was 14th 2 laps ago, putting on a real challenge, trying to work his way to the front. It's a long ways from 11th to 1st. If anybody can do it, Bob Hanna can, but that is very, very difficult. The crowd will come to their feet every time Hanna makes a pass and moves up one more notch toward the front of the race. The faster riders on the course are now catching up with some of the slower riders. The blue move-over flag is being displayed regularly at the finish line, telling the slower riders that the leaders are coming closer to them and they should move over and let them go. Kent Howerton, number 2, in second spot, has gained valuable ground on the leader. We are at the halfway point now. 10 laps of this 20-lap event. And the leader continues to be Mark Barnett on a Suzuki. His teammate, Kent Howerton, following closely behind him, trying to gain some ground. Yamaha's Mike Bell, last year's champion, running third. In fourth position, we have Schultz, Daryl Schultz on a Suzuki. Watching now as the leaders continue to come around, Mark Barnett. Mark Barnett is still the leader in this event. Teammate Kent Howerton running second. A lot of passing starting to take place back in the pack as some of the riders try to move up. Halfway, they've seen the sign. Those with stamina continue to challenge. The leader, number 5, Mark Barnett, passes by. Kent Howerton on bike number 2 in second place going by. Mike Bell still holding on to third as Yamaha number 1 passing. Then number 14, Daryl Schultz on the Suzuki. Then number 7, Jim Gibson on the Honda. And number 17, Danny Laporte on a Honda. Number 11, Marty Smith on a Suzuki. This race course begins to take its toll both on motorcycles and on race drivers as they are continually pounded by the rough ripple strips that are built into this track. 20 long, grueling laps of motorcycle riding around this man-made track. Barnett, Howerton, Bell, Schultz, and Gibson running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Laporte. And then Goat Breaker, the young Kawasaki rider, first year on a team. Still in the lead now is Mark Barnett. Seemingly uncatchable is Mark Barnett. However, it seems that it's closer back to second place for bike number 2, Kent Howerton. Mike Bell on the Yamaha in third place with slower traffic to get around before he can get anywhere near the front of this pack. Right now it's a Suzuki race running 1 and 2. Riders now trying to find a different way around this racetrack. The groove begins to wear. In some places, it's not the place to go. A slot that can be cut through one of those man-made hills can catch a foot peg and throw a rider down. So they begin to find another way to get around through the track without going through the slots. Mark Barnett still leading this event. And Howerton running second. Mike Bell running third. Some challenges taking place back in the back. Some exciting riding as some of the riders take some of the jumps 2 at a time to gain valuable ground. Each time they come by the starting area, chalkboards are posted by the mechanics to tell the riders where they are, how many seconds they have over the man behind them. It's becoming a closer race now as second place Kent Howerton begins to gain ground on his teammate Mark Barnett. More than halfway through this event, the race for the lead up near the front between teammates Barnett and Howerton. Bell running third, Schultz running fourth. Riders beginning to make mistakes. Some of the bikes falling down back on the race course, running away, getting off the track before they're struck by another rider, then going back out after their bike after the danger passes. Bob Hanna still trying to work his way up from the back of the pack. He was in 14th in the second lap of this race. He was the champion 2 years ago. He's putting on perhaps the hardest ride out here, trying to work his way up toward the front. Meanwhile, a very comfortable ride for young Mark Barnett on his Suzuki, seemingly unchallenged. Trying to catch him, his teammate, Kent Howerton. Mike Bell still holding on to third. It's Daryl Schultz also on a Suzuki running fourth. So Suzuki's running first, second, and fourth with a Yamaha in there in third position. Jim Gibson on a Honda is running fifth. Coming off the racetrack now is Brock Glover. He fell on the racetrack a lap back and some damage to his motorcycle. He was able to ride it off the track. One of the contenders from the Yamaha team has pulled out of the race. Barnett still in the lead. Howerton running second. Bell third. Schultz fourth. Gibson fifth. Hanna has moved to sixth position. The ex-champion Bob Hanna has moved from 14th up to sixth position, riding very, very hard and putting on an exciting show for the fans. Riding with number plate number 100. These plates are assigned by the position finish for the season before. Hanna, the champion, a year ago, injured during the off-season, breaking a leg in a water skiing accident out last year, has no ranking in this motocross sport this year. The first time he's not had a ranking number, riding with plate number 100, trying to come back after a year's absence. He's come from 14th all the way up to 6th and still moving. Still trying to run away with this event with only a few laps left to go now is Mark Barnett on Suzuki number 5. His teammate Kent Howerton on bike number 2 trying to catch up with him. Goat Breaker stops his engine, has to restart it near the exit to the final turn on the racetrack. He's the young Kawasaki team rider having a problem and getting his bike back onto the racetrack. Still, it's Mark Barnett controlling this race, but much closer now is Kent Howerton. Howerton within view. Howerton well within view of his teammate Mark Barnett. Closing in on him as the laps that are left begin to get fewer and fewer. Mike Bell, nicknamed Too Tall, for he's 6'3", the tallest man out here, running in third position on his Yamaha. Suzuki, Suzuki, and Yamaha. Then Suzuki and Honda in that order. The opening race of the 1981 season under the lights in Anaheim Stadium to a sellout crowd. This stadium was expanded last year for the Los Angeles Rams football team, now fully enclosed. Over 60,000 seats are filled with spectators tonight in this opening event, and they are getting their money's worth. They're coming to their feet and screaming as these young riders put on a real show for them in this stadium. Coming now, catching slower traffic and being caught, our leader, Mark Barnett. Less distance now between he and second place. His teammate, Kent Howerton, beginning to catch up with him. The first time he's been this close to him since the starting gates fell some laps ago. A 20-lap final event. A test of stamina for man and machine to see how many can go the endurance of 20 hard, fast-paced laps. Barnett running on to first place. Howerton second. Bell is third. Schultz is fourth. Gibson is fifth. And Bob Hanna is running sixth. Bob Hanna from 14th to 6th in this race. Seems almost impossible for anyone to catch the leader. He's been running away from this event ever since the second lap. Mark Barnett from Bridgeview, Illinois, Suzuki mounted, being chased by Texan from San Antonio. Kent Howerton, his Suzuki teammate. From Lakewood, California, the third place rider is Mike Bell on a Yamaha. Not many laps left to go. The white flag will be coming out any moment now to signify the beginning of the 19th lap, leaving them only one lap to go. And unless Howerton can put on a tremendous challenge in the last lap and a half, it looks like young Mark Barnett may go home the victor of the first race of the 1981 season. However, Howerton knows he does not have much time. Howerton goes around the outside, and Howerton has taken over the lead. With less than 2 laps to go, coming for the white flag, Kent Howerton, the Rhinestone Cowboy, on motorcycle number 2, has passed his teammate Mark Barnett on bike number 5 that's been leading for so many laps. Kent Howerton, with less than a lap to go, has gotten by his teammate. Mike Bell still holding on to third place in his Yamaha. Several riders showing exhaustion now, pulling off the racetrack. Goat Breaker, the young lad on the Kawasaki for the first year, having a problem again going down, picking his bike up and entering back onto the racetrack. But this race now is in the hands of Kent Howerton on a Suzuki. The young Texan trying to get to the checkered flag before his teammate, the teammate who's been leading for so many laps, Mark Barnett. It's still Suzuki 1 and 2, but there was a change in the lead. The lead was Barnett with Howerton second, but now it's Howerton trying to get down to that checkered flag. Howerton has very little distance to go. He has the checkered flag in sight. He's coming around some slower traffic. He has a left-hand turn to go. He's headed for the top of the hill, and he pulls it off. It's Howerton, and followed very closely by Mark Barnett, his teammate. But Kent Howerton, the Rhinestone Cowboy, wins the first event of the 1981 season in Anaheim Stadium.
For the second half of our program now, let's join original announcers Larry Myers and myself as we document a program that was appropriately called Duel in the Dirt from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Let's go back now to 1981 and Kansas City's Duel in the Dirt.
Here we go, kiddos.
Stay tuned for wild roller coaster action of the Mr. Pibb Kansas City Superbowl of Motocross Duel in the Dirt.
Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, the home of the Kansas City Chiefs. But tonight, no football on this field. Instead, what a lot of people feel is the most physically demanding sport in the world, and that's motocross. The AstroTurf has been covered over with thousands of cubic yards of dirt, building a bone-jarring race course of jumps, whoop-de-doos, and sandpits. Tonight could be a very crucial race, as Team Suzuki's Mark Barnett, series leader, could pick up enough points to win the 1981 AMA Series. I'm Larry Huffman here at Arrowhead Stadium, and with me our color commentator Larry Myers, an old racer himself, with some comments on the track and what we're going to see tonight.
Being an old racer, I want to tell you one thing. I wouldn't want to be on this racetrack. It's as mean, Larry, as any I've ever seen. During the practice sessions, many riders went down, and they went down hard. The course actually had to be changed. It's more challenging now, not quite so treacherous.
That sets the scene for tonight's Supercross.
Here's some highlights from heat number 1 recorded earlier tonight. The 1-minute sign goes up. A minute to the start as the crowd stands up. Only 25 riders will transfer to the main. In the first 4 heats, the first 5 riders go directly to the main event. Additionally, in the 2 semis, only first and second place transfer to the main. And from the consolation race, just the winner goes to the main event to make up the 25-rider field. And the side goes sideways. And we are seconds away from the start of the Mr. Pibb Superbowl of Motocross. Heat number 1 is underway. And Mark the Bomber Barnett takes the whole shot, as he's done so many times this year in the Supercross Series. It is Rick Burgett, the former national champion out of Sandy, Oregon, running in second spot. A Kawasaki, that's Warren Reed, running third. But Barnett puts the power to the ground on the Suzuki and moves out in front early. Burgett's got his hands full. Oh, look at this jump, and look at the landing by Mark Barnett. Let's take another look at that in slow motion. Barnett launches himself, gets out of shape in midair, uses body English to correct it, and set up for the next jump, which comes up immediately. It's heat number 1. Mark Barnett in front, flying over these jumps, the double jumps. Burgett running second, and the crowd is watching for Bob Hurricane Hanna, who is stuck in mid-pack. There's Hanna now, fighting his way through the sand and trying to move up to pick up those very valuable points. Barnett in front, sliding sideways now, flat tracking it out in front. The rear end kicked up in the air. Hanna's got his problems. He's trying to get around Jeff Ward, the former national mini-cycle champion from Mission Viejo, California. Hanna is running about 5th at this point. He's going around Ward as the rooster tails of sand are thrown up in the face of the riders trying to pass. Very difficult to pass. Ward chucks it over him, but Hanna moves up back behind Ward again. It is Barnett in front. Warren Reed running second as Barnett takes the white flag. 1 lap to go. Barnett lapping riders now in this 10-lap heat race. Incredible. Hanna is moved up to third now behind Warren Reed. He's trying frantically to pass Reed. Remember, points are paid only to the first 3. 3 points for a first, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third. And Hanna knows that. He wants those points. Mark Barnett in front, lapping riders and taking the checkered flag. But the crowd's attention is on Hanna. He's trying frantically to pass Reed, and Reed's throwing everything at him to stop him. And Hanna can't get by him. It's Warren Reed second, Bob Hanna third, and Mark Barnett wins heat number 1. Here's a look at how heat number 2 went. 20 riders lined up side by side for heat number 2, and the gate drops, and it is underway into that first right-hand turn, wide enough for only 3 or 4 bikes. Look out, mama! And Gibson cuts all the way across the track and comes back in. Holly goes by on the inside. Gibson second. Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Gibson cuts completely across the track, hits the berm, and slams back into the rider beside him. Howerton hits Gibson's rear tire and is thrown almost completely over the handlebars. And Jim Holly on the Can-Am goes out in front. Now Howerton remounts and is moving up with a vengeance. Meanwhile, in front on the prototype Can-Am, it's Holly. Gibson on the outside, passes on the left, and goes out in front. Some kind of a problem with the handlebar. Meanwhile, Howerton is running third and closing on Holly. He passes him in midair. And now it is just Jim Gibson in front as Ken Howerton closes. Howerton is determined to pass Gibson early, and Gibson knows it. He takes the sign from his mechanic. Jim Gibson on the blood red Honda in front. Ken Howerton on the yellow and blue Suzuki running second. Over the stutter bumps. Howerton is studying Gibson's lines, trying to figure out where to try to pass him. And the rest of the pack falls behind him. They've got a battle going here.
It is Gibson in front and Howerton in second, but closing very fast. Jim Gibson, look out, gets sideways and slams into the side of the jump, and that's it for Jim Gibson. And the Rhinestone Cowboy, Ken Howerton, is out in front with nothing in front of him but clear air.
Once Howerton got by Gibson, Kent walked away with the lead. Let's take a closer look at Howerton's riding style, a style that has made him one of the sport's best riders. Ken Howerton, winner of heat number 2. Mike Bell and Donnie Hansen went head-to-head in Heat 3. Heat number 3, and the riders line up, the privateers and the factory riders. Privateers like number 54, Chris Bigelow, one of the top riders from Michigan, looking for a factory ride. The gate drops, they're underway. And into that treacherous right-hand turn number 1, it is a Honda to Yamaha, Donnie Hansen and Mike Bell. Hansen breaks away, and right next to him, Chris Bigelow out of Michigan. He goes wide. It is Hansen in front, Bell running second. Donnie Hansen and Mike Bell, both from Southern California, and both raised on the night motocross tracks of racetracks such as Ascot Park and Irwindale. They know how to read the terrain and read the changing track. That's very valuable in Supercross racing. Donnie Hansen, about 5'8". Mike Bell, the tall, yellow-clad rider in second, about 6'3", the tallest rider in motocross. Watch the contrasting styles as Hansen tries to put the big Honda out in front. Donnie Hansen in front, Mike Bell running second, and Bell is doing exactly what Howerton did earlier, watching Hansen and trying to figure out where to pass him. Again, the contrasting styles. Bell 6'3", Hansen about 5'8", and Bell goes around him on the right-hand side where Hansen did not expect it. So Michael Bell has taken the lead in this heat. And Donnie Hansen has got to play catch-up. Mike Bell, the tallest American motocross rider, and a lot of people say he's too tall to ride these 250cc bikes. And Bell says, hey, I took the #1 plate last year. 1 lap to go. And Dave Osterman, Bell's mechanic, is signaling him to go for it. He's out in front and lapping slow riders, and Bell throws the front wheel up in the air to show him. Mike Bell winning heat number 3. A spectacular first turn crash highlighted heat 4. Watch this. And the rider closest to us in the red jersey, Jason Draycott of Houston, Texas, shows us the wrong way to get off a motorcycle. But the nice thing about that spectacular crash is because of the protective gear and helmets these riders wear, all 3 walked away from it. Donnie Cantalupe, the factory Yamaha rider from Stockton, California, misses that first turn crash and moves out in front. So winning heat number 4, Donnie Cantalupe.
Behind us, a 1916 Indian motorcycle, to give you an idea of how far motorcycle technology has come in the last 60 or 70 years. Ever had a chance to ride one of those?
No, I sure haven't. This motorcycle's a little bit before my time, and I have never had a chance to ride one, but I'd sure like to try it. It's like a lot of fun.
Even with a suspension like that on a track?
I don't know. It doesn't have much. I don't think I'd like to ride it on a track.
With me is Mark Barnett, the 1981 Supercross Series leader, who could win the championship tonight. What are some of the things you do in the off-season when you're not racing?
Well, right now, there isn't really much of an off-season. We have about 2 months off, and I like to just try to stay in shape all year.
You're a 125 national champion. What do you feel more comfortable with, a 125, 250, or open class bike?
Well, I like 125 the best for the outdoors, but on an indoor event, you need kind of the more power to make these double jumps and they make in the stadium, so I really feel comfortable on both bikes.
Physically, Mark, you're in incredible shape. You're a good physical specimen. What do you do to work out, and how long does it take you?
Well, it took me 10 years so far, but I train hard every day. I like to ride every day, at least 5 gallons of gas a day, and run almost an hour every day. And I think the harder I train, the better I am coming into a race. I feel I have mental toughness over my opponents. I know I can annihilate them in that last 10 minutes of the race.
And this is what it all comes down to. The 20-lap main event with 25 of the best Supercross riders in the world as the crowd stands up for this one at Kansas City. And the tension in the air as the riders line up and prepare to go for 20 incredible laps. The mechanics standing behind the riders, whispering instructions in their ear. The team managers hovering over them all. Hannah, just fresh off a victory at Detroit the week before, desperately wants another victory here at Kansas City. The sign goes to the 1-minute mark. The mechanics massaging the arms. The riders rocking back and forth on their bikes, getting set for the start of this main event at Kansas City. And we are just seconds away from the start. And the main event is underway. 25 riders this race going into that first turn side by side, and the first rider who backs off the throttle goes right through the wall. They are through it. And out in front is Mike Too Tall Bell. Barnett running in second spot, Johnny Hansen in third. But Bell, the defending Supercross champion who has yet to win a race this year, is out in front and smoking. Mike Too Tall Bell all over the bike. In front, Mark Barnett running second. Donnie Hansen on Team Honda third. Barnett slips by on the inside and takes the lead. Barnett all over the track. He seems to be trying too hard. And here's Bell going by. Let's take another look at that pass. Barnett getting sideways, trying to keep that rear wheel on the ground, almost going over the handlebars. Bell watching him very carefully, goes by on the inside as Barnett goes sideways. So the passing intense early in the race as Mike Too Tall Bell, 6'3", out in front, with Mark Barnett now having to be content to stay in second spot and watch Bell. And that's probably a good idea. Barnett can learn a lot by watching the lines of Mike Bell. Mike Bell, the long legs all over the bike. The totally different riding style from the short, squat Mark Barnett. Barnett with very wide shoulders, built like a football lineman. Bell is 6'3", very tall, more like a basketball player. But look at Barnett hugging the tank, his knees wrapped around that tank, with Bell's knees playing everywhere in the air. Over the double jumps, Mike Too Tall Bell in front, Barnett second. But an interesting thing now, as Donnie Hansen, the Team Honda rider, runs third, right up there behind Barnett. Barnett trying to go by, he goes by Bell. That was not where Mike Bell expected to pass. Mark Barnett faking Mike Bell right out of his motocross boots. So it is Bell running second now behind Barnett, with Donnie Hansen hovering in third, ready to pounce. Early in the race, a lot of action, probably more action than most Supercross main events, as Bell and Barnett swap it back and forth. They go back and forth on the lead. The Stadium Supercross bike, totally different from the outdoor bike. Very, very fast, very, very quick. 200 pounds, 40-plus horsepower, air-cooled, state-of-the-art. And the racing, totally different from the outdoor races. Computer-designed tracks with double jumps, stutter bumps, and catapults to throw the riders up in the air, using the suspension to the maximum. Mark Barnett, Mike Bell, and Donnie Hansen. And that's where the action is, and that's where the crowd is watching now. Barnett staying in front, Bell now moving up again to challenge him. Remember, Bell has the experience edge on Barnett. He is going very, and he's passing him. Bell takes the lead in midair. Barnett is going to try to block on the jump. Bell goes to the outside, they tangle handlebars. It is Barnett in front, Bell hammering at him, Bell in front. Back and forth they go, Barnett and Bell. Barnett coming out on top as they break for the straightaway through the sand. Bell going back at him. Barnett breaks away. It's a drag race between Suzuki and Yamaha, and right now Suzuki's on top. Mark Barnett from Illinois, now living in Alabama on the factory Suzuki. Mike Bell, Lakewood, California, the factory Yamaha. It is ask no quarter and give no quarter in the main event at Kansas City. And Barnett and Bell are going at it. Mark Barnett in front, but Mike Bell is not letting him run away with it. He is staying close enough to watch Barnett's lines. He's going to try to go after him again. Bell will try everything to pass the young Mark Barnett, but Barnett will throw everything right back in his face. They come around with the mechanics again, and Jeff Clark, Mark Barnett's mechanic, holding out the sign, think, and pointing to his helmet, saying, use your head, don't blow it. Here is Bell on the inside, trying to go around Barnett, slingshots around the outside. Every person in this stadium is standing up, and this crowd is getting their money's worth. This is what they paid to see. A knockdown, drag-out, Pier 6 brawl. Hannah has moved to fourth. But the attention is on the high-flying Mike Bell and the charging Mark Barnett. Barnett taking the inside line of those turns, Bell going around to the outside. Donnie Hansen running third, but it is neck and neck. And handlebar to handlebar between Mark Barnett and Mike Bell, and look at him going. Bell takes the lead. I don't believe it. Incredible. Mike Bell has gone back in front, and Barnett is shaking his head. They come around the sweeper. Bell gasses the Yamaha and moves further ahead of Barnett. They call him Too Tall Bell, 6'3". Over the double jumps, Bell and Barnett now has got to play catch up. Now watch for the riding strategy of Mark Barnett. He will try to fake Bell out once again and pass him where he isn't expecting it. And there it is! Barnett on the inside, no, Bell comes back again! Barnett tried to sneak by on the inside like a snake oil salesman of the night, and Bell took it right, oh, and Bell is down! Bell is off the track, and the crowd is screaming! He comes back on, and here's Hansen! Hansen is going to try to pass Bell on the inside! Bell is stunned! He's going to the outside, no, to the inside! Hansen in front, and Bell goes back in front! But that's just the battle for second, because Mark Barnett is in the lead. Look at the human pogo sticks catapulting themselves over that giant jump. Mark Barnett in front, number 5. In second spot, Mike Bell, number 1, and there's Bob Hurricane Hanna quite a ways back in 4th spot. Mark Barnett is getting into traffic now, and this could prove a problem. He does not have that much experience cutting his way through traffic. Oh! Barnett almost goes down. A lesser rider would have found himself in the cheap seats. Bell is still having his hands full with Donnie Hansen. Mark Barnett heading for the checkered flag. There's the white flag, 1 lap to go. Mark Barnett is 45 seconds away from winning the Super Bowl of Motocross here in Kansas City. Second spot is Mike Too Tall Bell, and he's moved up quite a bit on Donnie Hansen now as they head for the final few turns. And I would say that Bell seems satisfied and content to finish in second spot and pick up the point. But here is Mark Barnett, ladies and gentlemen, winning the Mr. Pibb Super Bowl of Motocross. Mike Bell second. And Donnie Hansen third.
I can't believe this thing. You made it so difficult there in the beginning. What was the story with you and Bell? I mean, you guys were going at it hammer and tongue.
That was the toughest race I've ever had. We were just banging handlebars, and he wouldn't give me no slack. I've been used to getting a 2-second and 3-second, and it wouldn't go no more than 1. And he passed me once back, and I passed him back, and I think it was a great race.
It was an incredible race, one of the best stadium races I've ever seen. But did you surprise you when Bell came back up and passed you again?
Well, when I passed him the first time, and he was giving me so much pressure, I was out of control, and I was kind of glad to see him pass me before I can just settle down and get a good pace going, but he messed up, so I said, well, I better go for it right now. I ain't got no time to mess around.
So Mark Barnett held off a hard-charging Mike Bell to win the Mr. Pibb Super Bowl of Motocross. Mark went on to win the Supercross Championship along with a 125 national title, making him the winningest motocross racer of 1981. The Mr. Pibb Kansas City Super Bowl of Motocross, Duel in the Dirt, was brought to you by Suzuki. See all the new Suzuki motorcycles at your local Suzuki dealer. Suzuki, performance above all. Well, that concludes this edition of our show. Join me next time as we track the Supercross legends who've dedicated their lives to riding on 2 wheels. I'm your host, Larry Huffman.